This is my raised bed for bush green beans. It's 10 foot long, 4 foot wide. I've planted the first group of beans in the top corner here. I'm planting them in succession this year. Planted them on April the 29th, and they're just now starting to blossom. So it won't be long before beans will be coming up. And then the second group was planted 22 days ago on May the 14th. And they're coming up. They don't have blossoms yet. And the third group in the top corner here was planted 15 days ago. And they've just came in and germinated just 2 days ago. And they're starting to get their second real leaves. And in the ditch, in the final corner of the bed, I've just planted some more bush beans. These are going to be top crop. They're kind of disguised, brown colored in the ditch here. You can see them coming in here. I'm going to plant those today and try and see how these beans growing in succession are. This bed last year with these 2 rows yielded 50 meals, or 50 servings, since I'm just one person. 50 servings, that's not bad for 4 packages of beans that only have 24 seeds in each package. Now the first group, I had been visited by deer when they were first coming up, and they kind of chewed out this upper corner here. And that's where I have these tree limbs to make a deer fence to surround the green beans. And we'll keep a check and we'll see how I do when this last group germinates. It's June the 22nd. Been 12 days since we planted the last section. And they're germinated and they're up. The other sections are growing. The second section that was planted 40 days ago, starting to get some buds. No blooms yet, but surprisingly, the 4 corner sections, the first section that was planted 55 days ago, it has a few beans that are ready to be harvested. Get a look over here. Where this is the little ones. Down below you can see we got some big ones coming up. Here's some more big ones, big enough to harvest. Some more down here. 55 days, and I got beans. Should have enough for the first meal. So we're gonna go ahead and pick those. It's June the 26th. We've just had a little bit of rain overnight, about a ½ inch. We've had 2 weeks of the temperature being in the 90s. So once this rain came and the temperature dropped down to the 80s, got out here and I weeded the garden and came up with something I'm going to try and overcome this year. Bush beans are nice when they lay down all together, but sometimes they get down in the dirt, and when it rains the bean gets dirty. It makes it a little bit hard to clean. It's a minor task, but I'm going to try and make it more convenient. So what I did on this row already, using plastic pipe, it can be plastic conduit or it can be PVC water piping. And I put a fork in the ground, and about hand high I put elbows that fit onto the PVC pipe to hold the beans up, keep them in a nice row. But I notice on the end the new plantings are getting kind of long and leggy. So I'm going to do it again on this other row. Only I'm gonna have 2 forks instead of 1, just to hold the pipes in place. And I already got the one strung out, and I put them kind of close to the rows because the beans seem to be a little bit taller than hand high, so hoping that'll hold the stems in, help hold the green beans as they ripen and get long, and after a rainstorm they won't have dirt on them. About to put the last fork in, so we'll pick it up on that. I'm going to put the last fork in and then put in the conduit. Conduit had a bend in it, and kind of hard to get it to stay in the forks, so I've tied both ends to hold it in the forks, and hopefully as it gets hot it'll straighten out and be natural, but the knots are just there to hold it in place. Now I'm going to scoop the beans up and put them in between the 2 plastic pipes. June the 29th. So far from the first section, I've picked 3 cups of beans, a cup at a time, just enough for a meal. And the second section, the last time around here that was just blooming, they're just now, the blooms are being kicked off by beans. You can see the blooms out on the tip of the bean starting to grow. So soon I'll be having 2 sections of beans producing beans. It's July the 12th. Looks like the bean bed is really transformed here. The first section up in the upper left, it looks like it's the runt of the garden. Planting early may not be a good idea. And the second section here, where we had the little beans with the flower buds still on the end, it's now transformed to where I'm picking beans out of them. Here's the little ones that were shown before, they're ready to pick today. And the third section, it has just now started bringing out its small beans. And the fourth section hasn't produced any bud yet. It's July the 26th, and the fourth section has started blooming now. The other three sections are into blooming and producing beans. The first section has produced 9 cups of beans so far this year, and the second section has produced 12, so it's beating the first section. And the third section has 4 cups. And it's kind of strange how the first section that was planted is smaller than the other 3 sections. It's like planting early stunts the growth. And even the second section is smaller than the other 2 sections, who have overgrown it. They're taller than they are. And so this is an interesting experiment. I may have to try this again next year.